Welcome to Here for the Horses. Glad you are here for the horses. Jennifer Nelson's in the house. I am joining you all from Tucson, Arizona, which has been super fun. I went to Scottsdale, um, flew into Phoenix yesterday, went to Scottsdale today, massaged some Arabians and went to check that out. That was awesome. That stadium, if anyone's ever been there, it's pretty cool. That was fun to watch those little Arabians. I did see some restricted range of motion on a couple of them, and I was like, hey, I could show you how to fix that, but I did not. I did not. I did. I have some cute videos of a little horse that I worked on. So I'll be putting those up throughout the week. Welcome everyone, nice to see you. I do have my opening video that I am going to share with you guys. This one was super cute. It was cold when I left, so I wanted to show you guys this because it's so cute. This little donkey. Oh, and I have something to say about donkeys and mules today too. Look at this little thing. There you go. That's pretty cute, isn't it? Just enjoying life. I mean, you might as well. You might as well when you can. So funny though. Um, so anyways, information about oh, admit information about mules and donkeys that I want to share with you. If you have a mule or a donkey, you get to post extra videos, okay? Because I like seeing those little mules and donkeys, okay? So if you have a mule and donkey, you can post one extra video of you doing work on them. I'd like to see some more stuff from them. Um, they can act a little bit different. But they can act the same too, so it kind of depends. But they're interesting to watch. They're cool to be around, so that'll just be fun. Okay, so anyone who has one of those, camel, if you got a camel, go ahead. I would be glad to not only work on it, but watch videos of it. Okay. Let's see. So do we want to talk about homework for this coming week? Okay, I did put up the homework. Should I try to remember it? Probably not. I put it up on my other site because um, I can't post stuff, scheduled posts out for my private one. Okay, so this week's homework, are we ready? Jaw rub, TMJ, and the hyoid. Jaw rub, TMJ, and the hyoid. Oh, llama. Yeah. As long as it doesn't spit on me, we're cool. We're cool. So jaw rub is going to be really great for the horses that are not yawning fully. So if I mention that in any of your videos, Marge is here. If I mention that in any of your videos, this is going to be the one I want you to focus on. Okay. I think I just said that to someone. Oh, I can't, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Michaela or Michaela. I'm not sure how to say that. I just put up a video of her working on her, looks like a quarter horse mare. Not a full yawn, it's at about 80%. Okay, so if you haven't seen that video up, I just put it up like half hour ago, probably. So that yawn was at about 70%. So the jaw rub is going to help that. It's going to be one of the things that helps that. You guys have probably seen that crazy video that I did with that bay thoroughbred where he kept putting his head down. It was called When They're Begging for Help. Okay. That was cool, wasn't it? That was so cool. And it was weird because I'll be honest, I was just standing there watching him. And then I could see like underneath on his throat, and he was like doing this. And I was like, oh, I just want to scratch that. And I just kept watching him, and I just kept watching that area. And I was like, oh, I just want to scratch that area. And so then I was like, well, why don't I? I walked over and I started scratching it. And then he got the biggest releases. So that was really fun. Okay. So I like to tell people there's freedom in massage. I want you to try stuff. Try it. You never know. You never know. But if you feel like you should possibly scratch something, poke something, do something, go ahead and do it. Be smart, right? Be smart about it. But like obviously there's no harm that was going to come from me just scratching underneath there, but there was a lot of help that came from it. That was really cool. And then I followed that up by tracing my thumb on the inside of his jaw, and I could find the actual areas that were locked down. And I did it on both sides, and there were two spots on the side of the inside of the jaw that were locked. And I had to push my way through them with my fingertips. And then I had to rub those hyoids like that. You got the omohyoideus, sternohyoideus. They go down, they attach to the sternum, sternohyoideus does. And then the omohyoideus, I believe, attaches to the inside of the foreleg. I might have to double check that, but I think that's where it attaches. So those go all the way down to the main trunk of the body and the foreleg. Pretty crazy. That's why, all that front end movement is affected by your hands, by the bit, by their tongue, by all these strange things, okay? It's all tied in, right? And then someone else can come along and say, and then the sternum is attached to the pelvis and this, with this fascial plane or whatever. So the horse is one big plane. So you never really know where the issue is, okay? So that was kind of cool. Carrie, homework for this week. It is actually up on I'll put it up on the coaching group, but it's jaw rub, TMJ, and hyoid. So for the hyoid, FYI, it's more of you're bringing attention to it and then seeing what the horse says. If there is tension in the hyoid, it generally comes out really quick, just like it did in that video. And sometimes it's just touching it. It's just touching it and bringing attention to it. And then the horse goes, oh my gosh, and their body releases it. It's not an actual like massage movement because that hyoid apparatus is pretty delicate. I don't like people messing around with it. There is a technique to release the jaw and hyoid where you take the tongue to the side of the mouth. And I know that technique and I use it myself, but I don't teach it because people call it a tongue pull. And if you're going to call something a pull, guess what people are going to do? They're going to pull. You do not pull. It's not a pull, it's a hold. Okay, so I teach that to people that I think need to have it for their horse, but I don't teach it in general, just because even when you say don't pull it, people still have a tendency to pull it. The other thing with that I'm a little hesitant about is that if they're holding on to the tongue and then the horse rips its face away and they don't have the fastest reactions, they can pull it that way, right? Let go of the tongue if they pull their face away. That's another reason to have a hand on the halter. Okay. TMJ, I teach just to touch, hold. What I really want to make sure that you guys are doing are able to locate those two bulbs. Okay. Two bulbs. If you have to look at a skeleton, look at a skeleton, but some horses have really big bulbs and it's really obvious. It's not an issue to see. Some horses, you can barely find them. Okay, so there's going to be two bulbs and then you're going to touch in between the two bulbs and it's like a soft little squishy area. It feels pretty nice, to be honest with you. So the two hard bulbs that are about the size of a pea up to like a small grape, depending on the horse. And then inside those two bulbs is this soft little squishy area. Now, again, here you're bringing your finger to it and you're just bringing attention to it. So it's similar to the hyoid. Okay. You're just bringing attention to it and you don't push hard. You're just touching it to bring attention to it and ask the horse if there's tension there. If they blink a lot, that's tension and you're just going to hold it. Hold that until they release. Now, if they've gone very stoic and they're really inside themselves, you can do a small circle both directions. I don't normally have to, but you can. And then also feel free to rub around it. This one goes really well with the jaw rub. So take the jaw rub all the way up, do a couple circles around the hyoid, make sure you can feel the two bulbs. Press, touch, I should say, touch, hold, wait for the horse's reaction. Look for them taking their head down, taking their head up, lots of blinks, that's tension. And then just hold that. And then if they kind of lock up on you, you can do little circles. Okay. Jaw rub, you're looking for sausages. Okay. So if you want another video, there's a good one. It's called Sausages Are Good for Breakfast, but not for your jaw. Okay. So you can look that video up, just hit the search bar. Sausages are good for breakfast. That's a fun one because you can actually see it when I take my finger over the horse's jaw, it like bounces over the sausage. I call them sausages, whatever. Speed bump. Okay, so do those for this week. Any questions on those three? Okay. Okay. Let's talk about this week's homework. This week's homework was awesome. I loved those videos. So, Michaela, I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Michaela, the red quarter horse mare, I think it's a quarter horse. I just put it up. Great example of very little tension in that pole. Very little. Very little in the ears. You know, not a huge response. She stood nicely, quietly, patiently while she was getting the work done. Seemed to enjoy it. Came back, said a couple thank yous, gave her a little nuzzle. So that's a good one to watch if you want to know what end product looks like. Don't worry though, don't worry. I've already found an issue in the right shoulder on that one, so we'll get her. We'll get her. I was like, we're gonna take a look at that later. Okay. Um, Jennifer, what's your horse's name, Jennifer? Teddy, never mind. I remember it. Yeah, nailed it. Teddy's got some tension, so you guys can watch that one for kind of the opposite spectrums. Teddy's a thoroughbred. So Teddy's gonna be fun to watch to see if he prefers percussion over normal strokes. And it'll be pretty obvious if he does like it. Okay. I enjoyed watching Kingston was interesting. Kingston had some tension. He is a nervous little boy sometimes. So he gets kind of mouthy. He gets kind of like, "Oh, no, 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 no," right? Moves around a lot. So you can kind of watch that. And then he goes internal when he gets real nervous. So is everyone able to recognize when a horse goes internal? That's what I call it. I don't know what other people call it. They get this like, they don't move, right? They're frozen. Their eyes kind of go elsewhere. They're still looking, but they're not looking at anything in particular. They go inside. Okay, so your stoic horses generally will do that. Kingston's not that stoic though, so he just does it because he gets nervous. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Let's see. Let me look real quick. What else did we have? We had some good ones this week. Oops, I'm on the wrong side. Coaching community. Okay, what else? Yeah, so Michaela and her mare, that was a nice one. Oh yeah, Strawberry, he was cute. So yeah, Cindy, did you see where I was saying he's still got some on that left side? Because he was like,
I did, yeah. He was,
okay.
and So that was the left side that I was doing first, and
first?
I had narrowed, done the time down to really the good stuff where he gave his release because I really liked his release that he did for me. But
Yeah.
he was pretty antsy. Everybody else was on the outside of the where he kept going to and
Yeah.
push. So I got to figure out a different way so he's not so focused on wanting to leave. But yes, I'll keep working on his ears and his pole.
Yeah. There's not a ton left in there, so, but might as well, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. And then, yeah, we saw Teddy. So Teddy has some tension in the pole there, pole ears. Oh yeah, Candy, that little cute mare. Um, Candy's cute. Did you guys get to see that video? She's gonna come a long way, you guys. Just watch. Mark my words. Mark my words. And then we have Megs. Megs was really interesting too. And that was a great example of backing off. Okay, so I talked a little bit about that in some of the videos because someone had asked me, you say to change it up when they don't like it. Yes, but there's a difference between not liking something and escalating and then being uncomfortable with it. So we saw with Candy right out of the gates, she was like, I'm gonna back up out of here. Okay, when she got a little nervous. And you guys know they do that under saddle too, right? Yeah, so that transfers to saddle. They're like, nah, I'm just gonna, or same thing as bolting or squeezing out from underneath you. It's similar. It's like they're just gonna leave the building. Okay. So Candy did that, and then there was one other horse that did that. Um, so it was Debbie's horse, the other horse. So stay with those. Don't increase pressure, but stay with them. And then they go, well, I guess it's not too bad. Now, if the horse decides they're going to like take you with them, if you don't let go, then either decrease pressure or change your stroke, which is what Stephanie did with Mags. And that was really cool to watch. Okay, because he was like, nah, I'm about to escalate here. So that was those two are great examples, or those quite a few of those videos are great examples of choosing the right method. Okay. So that was cool. Um, did anyone have questions on those? Marge? No? Okay. Yeah, so that was a cool one. Let me see what else I remember. Someone asked me a question about what sort of halter I like when I'm working with horses. I do prefer um a nylon halter just because sometimes I will use the halter for them to lean into while I'm asking them to do something. So I prefer one that is comfortable. A lot of the horses I work on have the big squishy leather halters. Some of them have like the Ritz-Carlton of halters where I'm like, this thing's ridiculous. But they have a nice comfortable halter. I do work on some stallions that one of them has a halter, I think is a bit aggressive. It's that hard rawhide. So I just do my own fingers with the halter over my fingers. So I keep that halter completely off of him because that is not going to help him relax into my hands while there's a rawhide halter going across his nose like that. So if I don't have, some of them have like multiple halters that I can pick from. So if they have that, I just pick the softest one. If not, I'm going to use my hand to guard them from that. Okay. So any halter works, just make sure that you're being aware of the pressure you're putting on it, right? Because those training halters are meant to get them off the pressure. So if you're asking them to relax into your halter and that's not what that halter's for, it's going to be a problem. Okay. And then, yeah, and then that was the other question that you guys had was backing off or pushing through. You do have to kind of like figure it out, right? So try something, go from there. All right. Any questions on that? Okay. Check out what I have here for videos.
Run that and then run it in the back of the 12. Fucking idiot.
Yeah, and you saw when Wallace hit the back of Brian Blaney right there. You can almost see the bumper cover kind of cave in as you see Chase Elliott pop out.
That's the old Stephanie Williams isn't muted. The news that we keep hearing in the background, and then now you're muted, Erin. But there she goes. There she's muted.
I got it.
Yep. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at for most of you, you've probably seen the ones that I've already put up, but looks like Nancy's put up one of Bourbon. So let's take a look at Bourbon while we're here, shall we? All right, hold on. We'll watch Bourbon together. This is a cool horse. I massaged this horse a long time ago. Share screen. There it is. Everyone see this horse? Pinto? Okay, so let's watch Bourbon. This is Nancy. I just worked. This is the horse with the woman that works on the horse that I did with the hyoid. Okay, she had that bay thoroughbred. Okay, here we go. Bourbon's a cute horse. You guys can tell he's not relaxed, right? Look at his little eye. He's like, I'm not going to breathe. You can't make me. There we go. I like that she started to do the brain sucker right now. That's good. He's still not breathing. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about is when they fake you out. He's faking her out right now. Just pretending he's cool, but he's not. Good choice on the break. Let's see how that feels. He was like, that was crazy.
That's a bad hair day.
Yeah, he's cute.
Giving me a run for my money.
There you go. Good choice on starting up again. So do you guys see the avoidance in his eyes?
Yep.
Oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. His face. Oh my gosh, he's cute. So I'd want hand on the halter right there. Those ears move pretty good. Oh, look at that eye. Look at that eye. Right there. That's different, isn't it? Oh, getting him. Uh-huh. Yeah, good choice on the break. Because he hasn't released yet, but he should have, right? He goes, it's not bad. He's so cute. Ugh. Yeah, hand on the halter. He's like, I'm out of here. He's trying to ignore it. There you go. There's the release. Beautiful. So can you guys kind of see when he's trying to just ignore it? He kind of goes like, I'm just going to ignore this. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. And then he's like, okay. So that's why the breaks help, but you gotta push him through that ignoring part for a bit. Yeah, Kristen, go ahead.
So when she started, she was working on, the pole, the scratches and everything, and you could tell that he had tension there. Would you have
Mhm.
waited to get a release before you moved on to the ear pulls?
So there's freedom in that, right? There's
Okay.
freedom in that. You can wait it out. If you like you obviously notice that there's tension in there. You can move on to an area that's not going to bother them as much, but then make them feel good and then go back to the pole and they might be more open to it. So that would be a fun experiment to try and see what works better. Okay. Cause like when I'm massaging oh, he likes that. When I'm massaging a horse, I have like an hour. So I have to be as efficient as possible. So a lot of time, if they don't like something, but they're just ignoring it, they're not like violently hating it, I will move on. There's a nice release and come back to it. And then they're already open to the idea of it. So yeah, there's some freedom there. You can try a couple different things. That's a hyoid right there. That's a good question. So did you guys see that movement? So she's working the hyoid like I did on that other horse of hers. And then she went down the neck a bit. And then he went like that. So that's the same thing where they kind of try to stretch it out themselves. Like that. That's kind of cool. That brown eye is so cool on him. And then there's the little hug, okay, when they come into you. That's a couple of you guys got some nice thank yous. That's sweet. What a nice horse. Yeah, then what's that? Oh, yeah, then there's a little bit of avoidance there as he goes back up to that pole. So there's a little bit left in the pole I'd go back to, right? And then, but the ears looked really good. And then I would probably try to find some area for him that he really enjoys, so I can kind of find something he likes. It's going to open a door. Then you get to walk through on other areas that he doesn't like as much. So Jennifer, same with you and Teddy. So I would probably go to them glutes. I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna like them glutes rubbed, right? And I'm just gonna rub those glutes and he's gonna go, oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then you can go back up to the head for a little bit, and then you can go back to the glutes and kind of play that game. Or if they really like kind of this area on their neck into the shoulders, and then you can kind of slide back up to yeah, he loves his glutes. Shocker. All right, shocker. And then you can use those to your advantage. I think we talked about that last week. Oh, Heather's in the house. Hi, Heather. I didn't see you come in. Michelle, hi. Okay. So tell me something. We have half hour left. Why don't you guys tell me something that you thought was interesting about the homework, either when you worked on your own horse or when you saw something cool on somebody else's horse. I do like watching other people's horses, right? Or something that you noticed in your video that you didn't notice when you were working on them. Go ahead. Stephanie, the real Stephanie, you got an issue? Got a comment?
I can't remember which horse it was, but there was a horse that just today had a lot of nervous, emotional energy. And I commented that I see that with my Mags. You know, he checks in and he kind of wants to nip, and he's not a biter. I just think it's more emotional. And you said in the video you might suggest something for that, because I'm constantly playing like he needs a fidget stick in his mouth because he's, he
Yeah.
gets emotional. So
Yeah, that was Kingston, and he's definitely on the more emotional side. So when horses are emotional and they want to chew on something, I let them. And I know that it's not a great habit. So you don't need to let them do that, when they're doing other stuff, but when they're doing massage, I let them do that. Just put your old cheap, crappy $5 lead rope on them and let them chew on that one. Take the expensive one and put it in the barn for a bit. Okay. So that's one thing I let them do is I let them chew on something. I also try to stay out of their face. Now that's more difficult when you're working on their face, but I try to kind of stay back so they can pick something else to chew on or mess with. They'll kind of walk over to like a door and start messing with a door or something. So that's another thing I do. And then when they start getting a little pushy, and I saw a little bit of that with Kingston, Boone does it every once in a while. I have a couple Arabians that do it because they're always kind of, they are always like finding a new fun game to mess with people with. I'll put my hand on the halter and I'll have to do it. I was gonna be like, how am I going to show this without doing it to Georgia? Because she's just gonna get annoyed if I do it with her. But I'll have my hand on the halter and I'll have my flat part of my hand against their jaw, and I'll pretty much rack them. So I don't take my hand off them and like clock them, but I'll rack them with my hand against their jaw, and they stop doing that pretty quick. And I only do it I only have to I'll do it fast. So it's like this. It's like a knock it off, dude. And they'll stop doing that like most of the time. So if I have another horse that does that to me, like I said, they don't do it to me anymore. So it'll probably have to be either a horse that's really irritated, or if I can find an old video, I'll try to find one. But the only time I smack a horse is if they bite at me, then I'll karate chop their face. That's what I call it. And that'll end that real quick. And then also if they're starting to like if they do something kind of shitty, I'll get them. So sometimes they have a fun little game where they'll take their leg and they'll like yank it out of your arms and they'll slam it down. I'll smack them a little bit for that. But just the biting, they'll get it from me. And then that kind of move I don't like. But generally, that kind of like jolt on their face will stop them from that. But I'd like to have a little better video showing that instead of describing it, because it can also go the wrong way, which you don't want. How do you know if you should should stay or move on? I went into it assuming there should be tension and a release when you mentioned she didn't really have anything there. This was with Taxi. Oh, Taxis? Oh, okay. Taxi is the name. How do you say your name? Is it Michaela or Michaela?
Yeah, you've got it, Michaela.
Michaela, okay. Taxi, I love that name. You know what? Taxi was just so happy to be there and had such a nice, just everything was good. There was no reaction to anything you were doing. There was like an ear twitch, and then there was one point where she kind of went like that, but there was just no reaction. Her head went from relaxed to even more relaxed. Okay. It went from, oh, this looks great to, oh, that's fantastic. And then yeah, the releases were real small, and that's another thing I talk about. Someone's horse did a nice release. I can't remember who it was, but it was like, oh, was it? I was trying to think if it was Adobe, but it was just like, it was slow and it was like the best release ever. Okay. That's what you want. That's your goal. Now, if a horse, whoops, Teresa's here. If a horse is releasing like this, that's still a release. But that means there is more tension there, okay? And you're gonna need to go back and wait and try to get a better release, a slower release, a calmer release. Okay, there is also when horses go through the motions of release, but they're not releasing. Okay, so those look different. They don't look and the best way to talk about those is you just say, does that look relaxed? And normally they're going like, and it's like, yeah, that does not look relaxed. That does not look like it is a release. So some horses, they know what the motion of a release is and how it has worked in the past, but they're just going to go through the motions of it to see if it can get the same result, but it doesn't because it wasn't an actual release. You'll see this with some horses that bite at the rib cage because they know that that has been the outcome of something feeling good in the past. And then also some horses will fake yawn. Okay. So if you think your horse is doing that, just send me a video and I'll let you know because it's a little tricky sometimes. So a lot of horses, when you go to bridle them, they'll do like a fake yawn. Some of them will do a real yawn, but it's more of like a learned behavior. Okay. Carrie, what you got?
I was just going to say when I was working on Bella, I could tell that she had a lot more work that needed to be done. But my dogs were doing something, and so anyway, I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done. But I kept saying she was stoic, and you kept saying she wasn't. She usually is very stoic, but her releases were tiny compared to what I've been able to get from her before. But
Okay.
usually it's when you're not around. And as soon as I turned her loose and was shutting the barn door, she was doing the yawning and licking and chewing, and her eyes were
Okay.
rolling back. So I was like, yes,
Yep.
got something, but I still feel like I got a lot more work to do.
Yeah, so yeah, that is a sign of a stoic horse. Yeah, she's funny because she is stoic, but then she also shows emotions too, and shows more than a lot of stoic horses. So she kind of goes in between the two worlds, which is great, and she'll probably end up getting better, you know.
It's started about 4 years ago when I started doing massage, where she's finally starting to show more. In the beginning,
Oh,
she would
that's so
never show
cool.
it.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool.
slowly
Awesome.
are
So that,
breaking it down.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm glad you said that because you don't want these big grandiose. I know they're fun and they're cool to take pictures of, and you know, everybody loves a big old yawn, but that big yawn is a sign of a lot of tension. So a small lick and chew that's really slow. I can't remember what horse did it, but it was awesome. It was such a nice little lick and chew. That's great. That's a great massage, or that's a great release. You want that. You don't always want these huge yawns and big kind of shows of release of tension because that means there's a lot of tension there. And once you've been massaging your horse for a while, you don't want to have a lot of tension in your horse. Okay. So they're fun. Get a picture while you can because hopefully it's gonna get better. Hey Stephanie, I got a question for you. Does Mags, like when he gets nervous, blow through stuff?
Actually, it's funny. This horse, if you tie him, and I think it's a lot of reiners because they don't do a lot of foundational stuff.
Oh,
He
that's
he
weird.
pees, he whinnies, he moves around, and if you just go get on him, he's completely calm. That
Really?
horse, that horse is never spooked. He is so well minded. I mean, you know, if he's like nervous at different things, but like most times, like I've seen horse like a horse is not safe to get on, right? I mean, I know the difference, but with him, I was at an all-day ranch versatility, and I was trying to give him a break because I didn't want to be on him, and he was just wearing himself out, peeing and all that, and then I
Oh,
just went to sleep. So it's funny
that's
that
funny.
he doesn't want to release for me. Like even when in the videos, he always turns his head. He doesn't want me to see it, you know, and I did get some of those big releases. And I think that, you know, yeah. So anyways, we'll come to other parts. I have lots of questions as we work through the body, but
Yeah.
the jaw release, I know we're going to be rubbing on the jaws, and I have felt some of the sausages. Are there any like nerves that we should be worried about? Because we're going to like rub down if we feel them, right? To get
Yeah,
the
so the person in that book talked about be careful of the nerves. I don't think so, man. I mean, I don't know what you'd be doing to mess with some nerves, you know, or he was saying something about veins too. Like obviously don't take a hoof pick to their jaw, right? We all know that. We're using our fingertips. We're starting by warming it up with a flat hand. You shouldn't have any problems with nerves or I mean, I've never had a problem with nerves or veins. Okay, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Now, what you're going to find is you're going to warm the jaw up. Okay, so you're going to get a baseline of what you feel. And then you're going to go across and you're going to feel for sausages. Now, the sausages are going to be going this way if you have any. So they're normally down toward the mouth or like right up from the mouth. Okay, now to release the sausages, you go with the sausage. Okay, because the muscle fibers run this way. You're going to go with the sausage. Cross fiber friction across the sausage doesn't feel all that great. Okay, so you're going to go with the muscle to get those to release. I also like to press at both insertion points. So the main one up by that bone is going to be the main one you want to press on. And then the other one down at the jaw. Okay. So check out that video, sausages are good for breakfast. That's a pretty good one. What about anybody else? Anybody else have something interesting this week that either your horse or somebody else's?
I have a comment on Magnum. On his ears, the rolls were really good. And I haven't read what that guy said in the book, but I remember you mentioning how some horses like the inside of the ears rubbed. And gosh, he really liked that. You know, just really, I don't know if it was because I was able to really pull the ear away from the skull, but God, I mean, you could just see it in his eyes. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, don't stop, you know, rolling back. So that was really interesting. And I did have a break in the weather just to let you know that I worked on his face, and as soon as I touched it, he was really sweet. You know, like that he didn't have it built back up. So yay, yay for Max and
Well,
me.
yeah, that's awesome. And I'm glad you said that too, because another thing I want you guys to pay attention to is when you get the tension out, does it stay gone or does it eventually come back? Okay, so that's going to tell you something. Now, I've had multiple situations where I've worked on a horse. I had one really cool one. This horse's name is Rowan. Okay. I worked on her face and she was throwing a fit when I was working on her face, and it was mostly the fascia. Okay. Just throwing a fit. So worked on that for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden she starts sneezing for like 3 or 4 minutes straight. Okay, so that was her release. So she was just releasing, and I was like, wow, that was a lot. Okay, that horse has not had that tension in her face since then, and that was 3 years ago. So that was a one and done. Okay, one and done. The tension accumulates over time. I want you guys to remember that. Tension accumulates over time. So you might have old crusty tension in there that's been there for who knows how long. This is why if you have a saddle fit issue, you better, you know, even if it gets fixed, you better massage all that out. Okay, because tension accumulates over time. It's if they can't release it themselves, and some horses can by doing certain things, then it's going to still be there even though you have a proper fitting saddle now. Okay, so you're gonna have to address it. And so you just want to be paying attention to that stuff. And then the other side of that is, you know, Georgia, okay? Georgia's holds her tension in her pole. So I can release her pole, and depending on what our workload is or what we do, a week and a half later, I'm gonna release it again. So as you're going through your horse, I want you to be thinking about, use your charts in your workbooks. If you have the clinic, you guys got a workbook with that. Okay. And then mark on there. You could mark the date or however you want to remember it. When does the tension come back? So George's right hind gets sore about not sore, tighter about every 2 months. So that's something I always have to address. So then you can start looking at, is there a reason this part gets more sore? Okay. It's also a great tool to pay attention to if you change tack, if you up the training, if they go to training and come back, give them a massage. Give them a massage, right? Okay, so you want to kind of know your horse, know your baseline, and I know that all you do anyway, so no problem. Okay, Kristen, you got something?
I thought it was really neat because Candy is actually a very stoic mare. She does not release easily, and she's actually a very mean mare. She's not a nice mare. Yeah, you touch her and she pins her ears. And I just think it's really cool because even these I'm gonna call them simple. I mean, they're not super, difficult to do.
Yeah.
It's just really cool how they release so much tension because, in the horse world, we have all these therapies, the TheraPlate, the PEMF blankets, lasers, all this stuff. And I have most of everything, as most of us do, right? So I just think it's really cool how just these simple things that you can do on a daily basis or every other day just releases so much tension and you're right, that is just built up over time. Who knows how long she's had that tension? I mean,
a while. How old is
yeah,
she?
she's 17.
Oh, really? Wow, she looks amazing.
Oh, she's
okay.
I had a year off because she fractured her cannon bone, but she's coming back into work this year for barrel racing, getting back into barrel racing. But yeah, she's 17. She's a cute little mare.
What cannon bone was it?
Her back right.
Okay.
She fractured it, tiny fracture. Didn't even do it. We don't think she did it at the barrel race. It was the day after that she came up lame. We don't know. Took me 3 vets to figure it out.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah,
At
but
least
I
you
just think
figured
like
it
I
out.
said, yeah, I just think it's really cool how just these little things that the average horse owner can do. And so thank you for teaching us, by the way. But I just think it's
Yeah.
really neat.
My pleasure. So question for you, you said she's not a nice mare. Is that in the herd? She's not nice to the herd, or just in general, like toward people also?
Towards people. And she's towards the top of the herd, but she's metabolic, and so I have to keep her in her own little small pasture with just hay. But she's just like, you go to touch her and she's pins her ears. And I know it was a saddle fit issue back when I first started riding her, and I've corrected that, but I do believe it's all that tension. Once we get to like the shoulder and stuff, she's got like ripples of like muscle, and like there isn't a massage therapist. I've had a couple out to work on her that have been able to help get it out. And I'm just like at my wit's end pretty much. So it's the main reason I started taking this course, but it would definitely be interesting. Yeah, you saw, I've never seen her release like that ever. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So what did I say when I sawe're gonna we're gonna have a breakthrough on this horse.
Yes.
This is gonna be awesome. Mark my words. All right.
Yes.
We got a little Mac Daddy. Mac
Yeah.
Daddy's having breakthrough too, a little pony. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's certain horses I can tell. So she's one of them. She cute. She real cute. All right, cool.
And she's sorry, she's gotten gait sour to where she doesn't want to go in and do her job.
Okay.
She'll like rear up a little bit and flip around, not rear straight up, but she has done that before. So I'm really hoping that this all helps. All of that.
I think it's absolutely gonna help 100%. We'll do what we can, but she's gonna feel a lot better, and that's just gonna make her life better. So that's awesome. I knew didn't I call her a little war horse or something? She's a little war horse.
Yeah, she's
cute.
She's something else. So thank you. And all in all, say thank you for what you're doing. We all appreciate
You're welcome. My pleasure. All
Erin,
right, anybody else got something cool? There
You
were a lot
also
of cool
called-
videos this week.
Aaron, you also called Bella a warhorse too.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Bella's a warhorse. That was the one. Yeah. Yeah. She reminds me of a little warhorse. Like I'd go to war on her for sure. Don't tell Georgia that. Anybody else?
I had a quick comment. Oh, go ahead, Nancy.
I was just gonna say back on Kingston, I just remembered when you're talking about that I had a Pirelli. Uh-oh. I'm running out of battery. I had a Pirelli instructor tell me when they swung their head around just to poke them in the jaw, just boing. And then after 3 or 4 times, they'd stop doing it. I guess I haven't remembered to do that in Kingston during a massage, because part of it's like wanting comfort. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to disrupt that. And look
So
for,
when he's doing it, it's a little too fast and aggressive for comfort. I don't think it's a comfort thing. It's like a nervousness thing. So that is another thing I'll boink them with the finger. Okay, so that is another thing I'll do for sure. Especially when they come around fast. I don't mind if they come around slow, but when they come
Right.
around fast to me, I don't like that. So they'll get like a think, or if I have my hand on the halter, I'll stop them that way.
yeah, I'll remember what you said about that.
Yeah, I'll try to find a video or get a video, because you can barely tell I'm doing it. So I obviously don't want your hand coming off their jaw to do it, because
Right.
that's punching
Just-
them. So, yeah, you kind of just pop them that way. You can try either one. He'll respond. He's a good boy. He just he doesn't know he's doing it half the time.
He's a doofus, like we say.
Huh?
He's a doofus.
He is. He's so cute. I love him. His little face, sometimes he goes. It's so funny. All right, Leanne, what you got?
Oh, I didn't do the videos of Mystic Knight or Ellie, but I revisited Ellie's ears and poll today. She still didn't seem like when I did earlier in the week that her ears were quite. She's not really ear shy, but she always assumes she's gonna be ear shy, and then once I get a hold of them, she's fine. But they didn't really release. But when I did her poll today, I mean, literally, my elbow was at my waist. Her head was
Yeah.
down here. She was just like, and the last time I did it, her head was probably level to just a little low. And today she just was like, oh. And
Yes.
she's never done that before. And I mean, I think she would have stayed there as long as I kept my hand on her pole. So she was really enjoying that, but her ears were better. And then Mystic Knight, it was like polar opposites, because she's getting to be such a big girl. I don't know if she'll be as big as Buckaroo, but oh my goodness, she puts her head up there and I'm like trying to reach. So I had opposites today. And then
Yeah.
Mystic Knight was just being fidgety. So I'll have to revisit her. And she just was a fidget machine today. So
Yeah, so that's why I told you in one of those videos, I want to see more of Mystic Knight, because I feel like we can figure some of that out. Because that is her personality, but some of that is also like she doesn't emotionally know how to handle it. So I'd like to help her get better at that. And that'll be good for everything having to do with her. So I'm kind of interested in seeing a little bit more of her. And
Yeah.
Buckaroo too, but I think Mystic Knight, she'll go internal sometimes and then she'll go external. So she's a little more
Yeah.
complicated.
yeah, and she's more reactive too. So her responses are all real quick too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she'll go from one to another real quick. Yeah. Yep, I remember. She's interesting. I kind of think she's cool. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So homework for this week. TMJ, jaw rub, hyoid. Okay, so the sausages are good for breakfast video you can watch. You can watch the hyoid one that said when they're begging for help. That one was just put up within a week. That's the gelding. And I don't have one on the hyoid, so I'm gonna have to do that. Or sorry, the TMJ. But you can, I think in the video I just say to touch it Everyone always asks me if you can rub it. You can rub it. You can rub it. Rub around it though. I'd like you to feel for if the muscles are plugging in tight. Rubbing on it is fine too. Play around with it, see what your horse prefers. But the idea that I'm working with is I'm bringing attention to it for the horse, and the horse fixes it themselves. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. So it's similar to when we're doing, and a lot of you might not have done this yet, but when we do leg range of motion backwards and they're kind of hung up at the bicep, and I say, put your hand up by the bicep and just touch it. And then the horse goes, oh, okay. And they release that muscle and then the leg goes back. It's really interesting. Okay. That's the plan. All right. Anything else? Awesome. Well, keep it up, you guys. That was amazing. Good job on the videos. Love it. If you have a donkey or a mule, you get an extra. Okay. Camel. Llama.
Hey, just so you know, Rita had been trying to get on. For some reason, her Zoom connections didn't work or couldn't find it. I sent her my email that I had, but I don't think that worked because it's tied to my email. But I was trying to help get on, but she said, miss ya, and she got the homework. So
good. Okay, good. Right on. Thank you. All right, guys. Awesome. Keep it up. Looking forward to it. See ya. Have a good one.
Bye.